Hey there, Daniel here from Ryzen. Welcome to step 3 in our 5-step recommended workflow series. And in the previous 2 steps, I was able to recommend you and share with you how you could build a topic cluster that will satisfy Google and build your topical authority using our topic discovery tool, as well as in step 2, where we guide you to how to utilize Keyword Explorer and the golden filter function, as well as Zen Matrix to find the keyword list that fit best with each of the topic and subtopic that you have. So with those structure content mapping that you already built in mind, and you can see that the pillar page will be on top, subtopic on the bottom, and all the keyword lists neatly organized below each of the main topic and the subtopic below. The next logical step would actually be to group the keyword that have similar ranking probability and attributes together, so you will so you are able to generate a list of articles that you will be target on your writing later on, right? This is the process in which I'm sure most of you who are advanced users are very familiar with, and who also share the same pain which we went through when we have to build this process. I mean, despite how long SEO has been established, this process has always been a really painful, manual, and tedious process in which every SEO company has to go through. But today's I will share with you how you can utilize our keyword cluster to get this work done in a very quick time. So 2 goals I want to accomplish with you today while sharing these videos. The first is to group this, show you how you can utilize or leverage our keyword cluster to basically fast speed through this manual process, yet at the same time ensuring that the data that you got is 100% validated, right? And second point is to share with you one of a very valuable practice which we used during our work as a content agency back in the day, that was that helped tremendously our clients as well as our own campaign, is to build marketing funnel and content funnel onto each of these articles to drive higher conversion percentage, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not about organic traffic. At the end of the day, it's all about conversion, converting those organic traffic into paying customer, right? Because you can't just simply invest into an inbound marketing campaign and get a bunch of organic traffic, yet none of them actually convert. So we want to kind of share with you, those are also the other second goal of these videos today. So before we get into it, let's just go a bit on the mechanism behind keyword cluster and how we come up with developing this tool for you. So it's generally, as you know, if normally when you have to do this manual process, it would be that you have to look for similar attributes like similar root keywords, similar meanings, similar intention, and assume that they all are really able to group together. And the next step is to train your staff to so that they would be able to understand this way of grouping, and they would have to sit down and start grouping those into different groups. And despite all this effort, the biggest problems we have as a team with this kind of work is that at the end of the day, there's no way for you to validate whether or not those keywords truly really belong into a group. And if you rank on one keyword, whether or not they would actually rank for the others, right? And so with that, we kind of came up with this logic in mind. And the logic is this, is that if a keyword that would have similar ranking probability, it also means that they should have very similar SERP results when Google return those results, right? It means that, for example, if you have keyword A, you have website 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if keyword C also have website 1, 3, and 7 belong to that SERP top 10 SERP result, it's quite safe to conclude that those keywords belong to the same group of keyword together, right, in terms of meaning. And so we did some testing, and lo and behold, it turns out exactly as we thought. All the keywords that have similar meaning and attributes and all of that just automatically cluster into together as their SERP results are similar. So with that, we decided to develop our own tool, and it's called Keyword Cluster. And now that you understand the mechanism behind it, you can feel safe using our tool to group the keyword have similar attributes together. And this process, as you all know, typically would takes like hours, if not days, to get done with longer lists of keyword if you do it manually by hand. But with our tool, it takes only half an hour to an hour to get all of those data come out in alive. All right, so that's the first step. So the second things I want to share with you is how you can utilize the marketing funnel, in which we call it content funnel, to optimize this article list. So once you have a list of different cluster, each of the cluster will serve as one article list. And our definition of this each article is, we call it organic traffic bait. Right, bait is where you use to do fishing, right? And what it is that this is key driver for you to get the organic traffic. When they search on Google, they jump into your website, read the article. But they shouldn't be the end of the story. They should be the beginning. It should be the first point of touch contact with your users. So what we tried to build as a team back in the day was to determine that article, which we just formed using the keyword cluster, which part of the funnel do they belong to? Are they belong to the top of the funnel? Are they belong to middle of the funnel? Or they belong to the bottom of the funnel? Top of the funnel, as you all know, is the stage of awareness. Second, the middle of the funnel is the stage of consideration. And final stage, which is bottom of the funnel, is the stage of transactional. So user will go from awareness. They will look for more information. They look for more knowledge. They want to understand a little bit more information. Then they go to consideration. Okay, what choices do I have? Where do I get these things? How do I proceed to get these kind of values? And finally, when they determine the value is big enough and they trust the website and the source of knowledge that I already gave them, they decide to make the transaction where they purchase and convert it, become a paying customer. That funnel should also be applied here. This is where you take out each of the article, determine which part of the funnel they belong to, and build the other article that should also guide to those funnel. So that if a user get into your website, read the content, they will right away see where that content lead them to next. With that, you will be able to utilize the funnel, content funnel, into each of the article that you target. So one traffic going, they will guide them through the second, for example, if it's awareness, maybe you will guide them through the next awareness stage. If it's how, then it's what, and then it's why, and then it's where. And then it gets to consideration. Okay, now that you are aware of the product, these are the things you can do. Now, if you're aware of how you can do it, these are where you can buy them. So with those articles set in place, this is where your content pillar form into a very concrete structure, with the top, the pillars, all the articles, and all the funnel that it should belong support that article. And then you have all the subtopic, similar, all the same process. Why do we emphasize this so much? Because to us, SEO is a process of research. If you spend enough time to prepare, to research, to structure, the moment you get to execution phase, there's no question, there's no doubt, there's no, oh, what if? You know exactly where this will lead, and you will be able to design the entire journey of your customer, the moment they get into your website to the moment where they make the converting and transactional decision. It is all about planning. So that is why for us, topic cluster is a very key essential steps in which we need to really make known to you, and how you can utilize our tool, and also the tips in which I just share with you to maximize your SEO campaign success. Right, with that, let me jump real quick into the tool, and I will share with you right away how you can utilize and how you can use keyword cluster to turn your article list into a conversion machine. Well, so as you can see, once you're done with the process of finding out the list of keywords, and you already save all the list of keyword in your keyword list over here, under each of the topic and subtopic, you have something that looks kind of like this, right? And this is how I usually build a sort of a mapping to help you have a better and clearer picture of how the content that you have should be structured. And it always starts with the pillar page.
let's say the topic that you're looking for is nutrition plan. Again, this is the pillar page of one area in which you target, right? And that's nutrition plan. Perhaps your website is it's a very health focused website. It's contain all of the information and knowledge and products even or service regard overall health being of a person, and you want to focus on a lot of those things, and nutrition plan is just one of the big pillar that you are targeting. So above here would be your website, right? And it go there, this is a pillar 1, and down from pillar 1 would be all of the subtopic that should be covered if you talk about this pillar. Of course, next to this there could be another pillar page, and perhaps that beside nutrition plan, perhaps it will be a type of exercise. So then it will be maybe functional exercise. So that would be another pillar in which you will do another topic discovery. You will do another round of looking for subtopic, and then you will determine all the keyword lists, so on and so forth. So it will build something that kind of look like this over here, and this is pillar page 1. This would be pillar page 2. And maybe this one is functional exercise. So all of these pillar page also have to carry the same theme in which your website is targeting, so that Google will never get confused when their bot go into your website. You can't just have a pillar page of nutrition plan and then the next pillar page you talk about industrial design or interior design. So it confused Google, right? And once you confuse Google are not going to actually rank you, simply because they have no idea what you're talking about and what your website is the authority of what channel, unless you are an e-commerce site, right? So if you look at this site, you will see that first one would be nutrition. That would be the pillar 1. Perhaps you have the pillar 2. Under here, you also do the same round. You go into topic discovery. You look for all of the subtopic that you may choose, and you build something similar to this. You have subtopic 1, subtopic 2 here. I think I go with protein meal plan. No, I think I diabetic meal plan. All right, so this is subtopic 2. I can get subtopic 3 and subtopic 4, and similar to this, I just build down. The amount of subtopic, I would say minimum should get about 3 to 5 subtopic. If you can write more subtopic, that's great. That's just kind of make you cover even more of the pillar page that you're targeting. But again, remember, you also have different pillar page to plan on as well. So you really have to also think of the resources that you have. How many team members you have? Do you have a very reliable content team to help you develop all this? But essentially, WriterZen will help you to structure this quite easily, right? So now let's say you have a pillar page of nutrition plan, and then subtopic inflammatory, and then subtopic 2 diabetes meal plan. The next step is to utilize our keyword cluster to look for all of the articles in which you want to target. So at this point, you already have the keyword list that you finalize on pillar page, which is nutrition plan. And then you also have keyword list for subtopic 1, subtopic 2. As you can see here in this picture, you have diabetes meal plans. When you click on it, I'm doing the calculation now, but I guess we can do another case here. Protein diet plan, and here I already have my filter. Oh, filter is not done yet. Okay. Oh, here, sorry. So you have a diabetes inflammatory diet plan, and over here we already score our filter. I usually would just do using golden score of 1.618, and that's probably the easiest way. And to find out why and what golden filter really truly does and the mechanism behind, you could just simply click on this top of the screen over here, this button, and we actually have a very detailed videos of I was sharing how did we build and calculate golden filter based on ON title and as well as the search volume. Okay, so you have here the golden score, and we already ranked potential values. Click apply, and from 293 you have about now 123 keywords selected with total search volume of 9,560. So you are going to target this keyword, right? And as you can see, there's a lot of really nice long tail keyword that you can easily target here. A lot of this keyword will have lower search volume. So depends on how you are and what where you are in terms of resources. But I would say if you can, just target them all, even if it's 10 search volume, because typically with keyword that's 10 search volume, they usually don't really just have 10 search volume, because Google database only record them. They have to round up the number, or either round down the number, and usually they will round down just to kind of give this wrong sense of true range, so that they could probably sell more on their Google AdWords. So I would say kind of target them all. They call opportunity keywords. The more you target, the easier you will get ranked for those. And the more you get ranked for certain keywords and you get traffic in, the easier it is to show Google that you care about your clients, and that you target what they truly need, even if it's a low search volume keyword. And that's kind of just give an edge over your competitor. Of a longer term strategy, right? So let's say this is the list of keyword that you are going to add. So I'm gonna create here subtopic 1, inflammatory diet matter. Diet plan. Okay, so something like this. Add. All right, so the keyword list already live up here, and so we'll go with I'll go through using the pillar page and also one subtopic, so you could see how we did it. So I suggest you don't do it directly from here, like cluster a keyword, even though we do have that function. We can just cluster the entire list of keyword over here. But what I would usually do is that once you have the keyword list that's saved for each of those cases, you go to keyword importer and you import this keyword in. Let's create a new import from list, and you have a list of, let's say you go with the pillar page first, nutrition plan list over here. Yeah. Click add, and they will start collecting data, and it will look something like this. We already have it over here. All right, so it will look something like this. So once it appear, you have a list of keyword that you already selected. You already filter. This is the list of keyword in which you are targeting, and that you want. So it's a list of keyword here, and you will want to group those keyword that have similar attributes together to make them into the article that you will target later on. And once you click cluster, and it will appear something like this, right? And here are the list of all of these keywords that automatically cluster. And again, like I said, the mechanism is quite simple, but it usually took some time because it takes a lot of our computing power. And from here, you will be able to see all of the list of your article that you will want to target. And what I suggest you do is to export them all. So once you export them, you have a list of sort of articles for you to work with, and you can play around with it. So you can play around here. You'll be able to see all of the list of the cluster. And also if you click on detail sheet down below, you'll be able to kind of filter them out. What do you like, what you don't like, what you want, what you don't want. And this is a great way for you to kind of work with your freelancer, right? Because you maybe a lot of time when you were still working with your freelancer using your Google Sheet or Excel sheet, this is one of the way for you to kind of filter out what article that you want to keep and what article you don't want to keep. And then there's a single cluster. A single cluster are actually keywords in which don't belong to any of the cluster. So some of these keywords you may want to sort of write an article for themselves. For each of these keywords, you will have to write one article to target them. So that is the process in which you start to kind of cluster and put this into the article list. and export them out and kind of have a list and to select, right? And a lot of time you'll find that some of the keywords that don't really fit with your, like for example, those Costco sell Fairline nutrition plan, that's something that I may not want it. So what I'll do, I just delete them, right? So when I do something like this, I'm basically able to kind of break down, and it's a very easy way to look for it, and then you just kind of break this list down and then just look for the article in which fit best with what you are targeting for this pillar page, right? So remember, pillar page you will write down, and then you also have a list of article under the pillar page, so it has to be internal linking with each other, right? All of these articles have somehow to internal link back to also your pillar page as well. So in your pillar page is where you kind of mention all of this insight that you have, so it links together with this article, right? So people, when they go into your pillar page, they'll be able to see all of that, because what user will see is what Google bots will also see. Google bots go on your pillar page, they read that long article introducing about everything that you are going to talk about in this nutrition plan pillar page, and they will be able to see as they read through the link to all of that as they read, right? They click on each, they go to the article. So again, you can take a good example of this plan. Healthline. Healthline does a really good job of building this type of content strategy. As you can see, for example, if I look for a nutrition plan for athlete, and I click on it, and you will right away see Healthline always rank among the top. And if you click on this and you scroll down, you'll be able to see them internal linking almost everything. First of all, Mediterranean diet, and they have it linked right in here to another article that is about Mediterranean Diet 101, a meal plan beginner guide. Why do I have to really highlight this point? It's because the more you see, add sugar, and you click on it, there's another article. So the way they build this is they actually build in higher engagement percentage from the users. Why? Because this is one of the key measurement of what Google use to measure the success of your content related to your user, right? Because if an user go in, they read your article, and then they click on the link in the article to go on to the next article. What does it say about your content? Your content is great. It's creating trust, right? You have authority over the content that you write. And if user consistently doing that, and each user they go in one, and they read another, and you keep having that loop staying in there. So it means what? Your user engage with your content, they engage with other content that you write. You structure in a way that your content kind of interrelated into this really great linking in terms of meaning together. And as you grow, you will be able to see your organic traffic grow insanely high, just simply because you satisfy their need. And Google measure all this, and this is one of the way for Google to figure out that whether or not you structure your content in a really great way. So one of the things, just go into a website like Healthline, and you'll be able to see how they did it. They did a really, really amazing job, because this is a very difficult niche, right? Health is a very difficult niche, yet Healthline rank in almost every category that they try to put on, right? The way they lay out and the way they put internal linking into this, they put internal linking in almost every passage. You see, simple carbs, energy. So all of this make your users stay engaged. And so that is when you have a list of articles like this, I suggest you to really also, as you plan on your article list, start working on your internal linking strategy as well. Within each of these articles, you'll be able to kind of see the connection between one to the other, and slowly kind of build those kind of linkage, as you write. And all of this should all link back to the main pillar page, which is your nutrition plan. Okay, and you do this process again. So now under this list, you have now developed a list of articles. Okay, this is the second part in which you've done. All right, list, determine a list of article for each topic. All right, and then you will do something like this. Move down here. Oops. Develop funnel for each article. So this process is what actually a bit more manual than most, right? So before without any tool, you will have to do this process, for example, by hand, and it will take you a lot of time. And after this one, you just want to write content and try to write. But nowadays, since you have tools like this to automate a lot of this painful manual work, what you can do after this is that you start identify this type of article that you write, and you really need to understand which part of the funnel each of these articles belong to, because each of the articles should have their own funnel, right? A funnel is what? You have to build this top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. And that is to drive the traffic that go into your website, read your article, and you want to turn them into converted customer, right? So they have to be able to, as they're reading your content, they have to identify, we have to identify that part of content is in what stage of their intent. And this is really have to base on your own sense, your own sort of like common sense, because each of the keyword or each niche will require different set of skills or understanding and knowledge, and this has to be discerned by you. All right, so once you get done with that part, you will have to determine which keyword in here would belong to what. For example, usually this type of niche, man weight loss meal plan, this is middle of the tunnel, right? So what I can do is you could just kind of do like a MOFU. Here you kind of combine them. I mean, I'm doing this in a very manual way, but you can definitely figure out a better way to format this so that it looks better. All right. So let's say you determine each of these article 2,000 calorie meal plan is also MOFU. Right? MOFU is middle of the funnel. MOFU, and you do this process repeatedly with every single article in which you decide to write about. And once you determine the article that where it ends, you develop the other article that cover the top of the funnel and the bottom of the funnel, right? So that if a person go in there and they start reading this article, they are the first source of organic traffic. They're reading, and they will link one to other article also in the middle of funnel, which is a consideration. So after, like for example, I'm looking for best meal plan, and then I was like, okay, and then I looked there, and in the same article, there's an internal link to another article that say 7 type of food to avoid. So check out these foods that to avoid when you build this nutrition plan. I was like, okay, I still want to know about this knowledge. Click on it, still consideration, and then they lead to this bottom of the funnel. Is where the article that focus a lot more transaction. This is where you close your conversion. This is where you will have article like place 30% discount for click here for free ebook on how to get your nutrition plan for 365 days, something like that, right? And after they already read through your content, they really develop a trust level with and comfortable level with whatever they're reading about. They know that you are an expert in whatever you talk about. It's a lot easier for you to close this deal, right? So that's why there's the concept of funnel. And this is where I want to really break it down in very sort of like logical and sequential step for you to, so you can imagine almost like a journey of your users. You have to imagine in a way that when they go in, they will read your content. They will also continue to read. They're not going to convert right away. And you want to make sure you are there. And you have to guide them through all this internal linking and making sure that wherever they are, you already got covered. And also you got another article in which have helped you to close the deal. At the end of the day, it's all about conversion. And if you don't build your website with a conversion goal in mind, you're not going to be able to win anything, because that's just going to be a waste of resource and investment. right? You build all this organic traffic funnel and people go in there, but they just always stay in awareness phase or consideration phase. They never go and close the sales with you. They may go in and look for the content and they go out and check out some other website, and you lost that sales. You don't want to be that guy, right? So again, this is the whole point of why I say clustering, though it's a really great features, but it's also only a part of a bigger sort of logical sequential steps that you need to take in order for you to do SEO right? Like I said, develop topic cluster, develop your pillar page or subtopic, look for all the keyword, filter them out in long tail keyword and that fit with your resource and plan. Group them together in article list, define the article, making sure that it belongs to the correct part, and then build the funnel around it. So once you have all this draw out, you will have something that looks kind of like this. So determine the funnel, right? And you have a list of the keyword here, keyword list, and then you link them to the keyword list in an article, and then you kind of attach the file. You can do Google Sheet link. All right, and then develop a funnel for each article. This is where you start building that funnel for each, and you have to find a way to kind of draw it out for a map. Really, you need to find a map to draw it out for each of those articles in order for you to kind of have the plan in your mind. So you do this with your pillar topic. I think this one's pillar topic better. Pillar topic, subtopic 1, subtopic 2, subtopic 3, subtopic 4. You continue to do this with each of the topic, right? It's research. It's the painful work. But once you're done with this, you will have everything mapped out in such a clear order and internal linking them together that it's the execution will be such a breeze. Because all you do after this is just to send the list and the requirement and the brief out to all of the freelancer that you need them to write. And at once you have all of that article go in, and you just kind of like a play Lego with them. So on your website, you put them here, put them there, put them. It's already in this map, right? And that's the whole point of building a really, really great content structure. And this is the only way for you to rank consistently and sustainably. Okay, all right. So come back to this. This is a nutrition plan. You click on here. There's what I did is also have inflammatory diet plan. These are all the cluster I already show you that you can really start working with. Again, same thing. I would export them out and start to pick and choose from that list. So start linking them together in terms of meaning and making sure that you know that which article link to what. Hopefully we'll be able to develop something that make this process even easier. Help you to kind of link them in a way that you can do directly on our tool. That'd be great. That would be a really cool project to work with in our future update. Congratulations, because by the end of these steps, you are now already covered all 3 steps of the research phase of any SEO campaign. You have already accomplished building and forming a great topic cluster that really bring you to the expert status in Google Standard. And you also are able to find and filter all the keyword needed that fit well with the user search intent. And you are able to look for all the keywords that actually give you a very good return on investment. And also, you are now, after this last step, I hope you also understand how to utilize our keyword cluster to bypass the whole entire manual, tedious and painful process of grouping keyword manually. And with these 3 steps into conclusion, the next step would be the first step of the execution phase. This is where you will be able to understand how you could start by research and create the best outline possible for all the articles that you write using our content creator tool. And I can't wait to share with you more in our next videos. I look forward to see you there.